Coming up on today's show, as it starts to execute on its New Zealand launch, Polestar doubles down on getting its next generation Precept car ready for production. Lucid Motors says it's going to make more Dream Edition cars to celebrate its new range record. And the NTSB in the US gets upset with Tesla over its full self-driving system. These stories and more coming next. This is Ecotricity's Ecotech Roundup show from New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to EVs in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. Polestar is going full ahead with its plans to launch the Polestar 2 in New Zealand in the near future, and now it's confirmed that it's working full steam ahead to get its Precept electric car ready for production before 2025. While Polestar is originally a Swedish brand, now owned by a Chinese company, and China is where its Polestar 2 is made, it has a research and development hub in the UK, where the Polestar Precept will begin its transformation from auto show concept car to production-ready vehicle. And in order to expedite that journey, Polestar has just confirmed it will double its UK team from 250 to 500 staff. That expansion is nothing to sniff at, especially since Polestar is a far smaller automaker than many of the brands it's chasing. Looking forward, the Precept design is expected to influence the design of the Polestar 3, an EV which will share its platform with the next generation all-electric Volvo XC90 and which will be built in the US. As more and more automakers have announced their intent to switch to a zero tailpipe emission future, more and more are turning their attention to procuring enough batteries to make those plans a commercial reality. The majority of automakers have realized the only way to do that is to follow Tesla's lead and bring battery production in-house, working with partner companies, much like Tesla has done, to produce gigawatt hours of batteries at jointly owned facilities. And this week, Mercedes-Benz announced that it is purchasing a stake in the Automotive Cells Company, a European battery cell manufacturer launched last year by Stellantis and Total Energies to produce EV battery cells for use by European automakers. The three co-owners say that they will invest more than €7 billion in the franchise to produce at least 120 gigawatt hours of cells for Europe by the end of this decade. I think it's a great start, but at least double that is really needed to transition everyone to electric. Tesla has announced a new Autopilot update that it says will improve emergency vehicle detection at night. According to Tesla, the new code rolled out in a recent Model 3 and Model Y OTA update will cause a Tesla operating in Autosteer mode to slow down when it detects lights from an emergency vehicle ahead. It will display a message on the touchscreen to inform drivers of the slowdown, and when emergency vehicles have been either passed or are no longer visible, it will resume your set speed. Some folk have suggested that this update is a response to several well-documented and well-investigated cases of Teslas operating in autopilot mode appearing to crash into the back of emergency vehicles stopped on the public highway. But as other outlets have commented, at this time it seems the update is focused on nighttime operation, so could be a more generic feature update ahead of full FSD rollout. In last week's show, we announced that Lucid had officially become the longest-legged electric car on sale today, based on range per charge after achieving an official EPA rating of 520 miles, 837 kilometres for the Lucid Air Dream Edition range. Some of you questioned that since you noted the car wasn't on sale yet, but as we note in the comments, an EPA range rating is required before sales can begin. So chicken meet egg. But this week, in celebration of its new position at the top of the range charts, Lucid announced it would be making more Lucid Air Dream Edition ranges to celebrate. Only available as a launch edition car, Lucid had planned to make just 500 examples, but now says it will make 520 because that's the range in miles, said vehicle managers. Yes, it is very twee and feels a little forced, but hey, I and Winter will be in Arizona next week to see the production Lucid Airs firsthand, so watch this space. There is no nice way to put it. The electric vehicle world is obsessed with range, as our previous story just illustrated. But the reality is that most people don't need massive battery packs for travelling huge distances they rarely cover, And building cars like that just makes them more expensive, which is why you might be interested to know that a BMW executive has just stated to Which Car Australia that the automaker has no plans to roll out models that go stupid far per charge. In fact, according to BMW i4 project leader David Ferrino, BMW is targeting 600 kilometres, 373 miles, as being more than enough range for its cars, with a target of 100 kilometres, 62 miles, for all plug-in hybrids in EV mode. The range is more than enough for most people in most places, and a 1,000 kilometre, 621-mile trip is easily achievable with a single 200 kilowatt, 30-minute charging stop. When buying a new car, there are a few things I hope everyone look for, and crash test ratings should be at the top of your list, which is why it is great news to learn that the 2022 Volkswagen ID.4 has just been awarded the Top Safety Pick Plus by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. The US-based test agency rated the ID.4 highly across the board, with only standard headlights dropping down to acceptable. The optional LED lights scored far better. The ratings are almost the same as for those for the Tesla Model 3, the Volvo XC40 Recharge and the Mustang Mach-E. And in case you missed it, our very own Winter Tashlin was lucky enough to get a few hours behind the wheel of the all-new all-wheel drive ID.4 last week, and we just published his first drive report on the channel, so check it out later. From the ID.4 to its upmarket sibling, the Audi Q4 e-tron. It's just officially launched in the US, and it has a very palatable starting price of $36,400 after government incentives. First showcased way back in 2019, the Audi Q4 e-tron has taken a while to make it to market, but with the chip shortages seemingly easing, Audi is now ready to begin deliveries in the US by the end of this year. Because it is basically the Volkswagen ID.4 in a tuxedo, it shares the same choice of rear-wheel or all-wheel drive variants, along with the same 82 kilowatt-hour battery pack choice. But because it's an Audi and it has a little more stuff on board, don't expect its range to be quite as good as the ID.4 in the real world. It might be a nicer interior, but that extra rate will impact range. Jennifer Homedy, head of the US National Traffic Safety Board, was talking to the Wall Street Journal this week about autonomous vehicle technology and had some pretty harsh words to say about Tesla's full self-driving program. Calling into question the way in which Tesla has approached the rollout of FSD Beta, Homedy said Tesla shouldn't roll out FSD Beta to a wider user base until it's addressed what the NTSB believes are deficiencies in the feature. Quote, "Basic safety issues have to be addressed before they're then expanding it to other city streets and other areas," the NTSB boss said, adding that Tesla's marketing of the technology, namely calling it full self-driving, was, quote, "misleading and irresponsible." Despite some Tesla customers being unhappy about these comments, since FSD is not fully autonomous, the driver does still have to monitor and supervise the system. But the NTSB does have a point. While many of us understand that Autopilot and full self-driving aren't automatic, your average car buyer might not. Chinese automaker NIO has been busy this week, publishing teaser footage of its latest winter testing in New Zealand, as well as announcing the launch of what we think is the world's first production hybrid cell battery pack. The 75 kilowatt-hour pack, due to go into the ES8, ES6 and SC6 models from November onwards, features two different cell chemistries within the pack. There's nickel cobalt manganese for high energy density and lithium iron phosphate for lower cost and reduced cobalt consumption. NIO says the pack uses cell-to-pack design, which simplifies its manufacturing and assembly by 10%, and it also increases volume utilization by 5%. While increasing energy density by 14%. The hybrid pack also means improved low-temperature performance compared to LFP-only packs, which are known for not liking cold weather. If this pack turns out to work well, I expect other automakers to replicate this hybrid layout, so watch this space. Oh, and if you did see the NIO ET7 testing this winter, send us a pic. Automakers and auto dealers have spent many years fighting Tesla's direct-to-customer sales models, but over the last year, we've seen more and more automakers make the switch to that very model. We've seen Ford switch to online sales for its F-150 Lightning, its Maverick and other models, and Volkswagen wants to do the same for its future models. But in Australia, Hyundai has changed its sales models mid-launch. asking dealerships to refund any deposits taken for the IONIQ 5 thus far, and asking customers instead to head to a new website to place their order there. The change in policy not only makes it easier for Hyundai to ensure customers get a consistent sales experience, but it also helps prevent price gouging, which is something the traditional dealership model is notorious for. Frankly, if I can order my phone and loo rolls online, I should be able to do the same with my car. What say you? And finally, if you are into precision driving, rallying, or just incredible automotive stunts, you'll know about the legend that is Ken Block, aka the Hoonigan, and his Gymkhana series. In the last decade, Ken's YouTube channel has shown multiple times just how truly amazing his driving skills are via a long-standing partnership with Ford that usually resulted in powerful, balls-to-the-wall internal combustion engine rally cars and performance fun. But this week, following his transition to going to a free agent, this is his words, not ours, Block announced that he's going to team up with Audi on some new all-electric projects. There's little else to share at this point, other than to say that given his history and his ability to entertain and amaze in equal measure, I cannot wait. And on that note, we are done for the day. So make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss out on next episode. And if you haven't already switched, please consider switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. It is super easy to make the switch. And when you do, you'll help New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back soon with more great content for you all to enjoy. But until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite. See you next time.